Here, we'll work on creating ellipses and circles. The first thing I'll do is click and hold down the mouse button on the rounded rectangle tool, and then select the ellipse tool. And then I'll move the pointer over the brown rectangle and click and drag to make an ellipse that has a width of about 1.5 inches and a height of 0.5 inches. So there's my first ellipse. Now I want to make sure it's selected, so I'll switch to the selection tool, which is the black arrow tool. And I'll go up to Edit, and then Copy, and then back to Edit, and then Paste. So that pastes another instance of the ellipse. I'll just move that out of the way for now. And I'll select the original ellipse. And on the right-hand side of the bounding box, there is what's known as a pie widget. And I'm going to click, hold, and drag that pie widget counterclockwise to the top of the ellipse. And this will kind of slice a piece out of the ellipse. So I'll just click, hold, and drag to the top somewhere. Close. Kind of a 90-degree angle. And then I'll release the mouse button. And we can see that a piece has been taken out of the ellipse. Now we've got two widgets. We've got a widget there at the top and a widget on the right-hand side. We can also manipulate our shapes using the transform panel. So I'll open up the transform panel and I'll enter 180 degrees from the Pie Start Angle menu. Make sure my shape is selected. And then in the Pie Start Angle field, I'll enter 180 degrees. There's the Pie Start Angle field, and I'll enter 180 degrees. And then we'll end up with half an ellipse. And now I'll move this new shape and drag it so that it snaps to the bottom of the brown rectangle. And if you have your smart guides on, the word intersect will appear when it's snapped. So now let's work on the other ellipse. I'll select that copy of the original ellipse and I'll drag it down on top of the half ellipse. And again, with your smart guides on, this will give you some guides to know when you've centered it on that ellipse. And I'll change the fill color to a darker brown and the stroke color to a lighter brown. So I can see my smart guides say that I'm centered there. I'll go up to the window, open up my swatches, and I'll change the fill color to a darker brown and the stroke color to a lighter brown. And now with my cursor, I'll drag the top middle point of the ellipse down. And as I drag down, I'll hold down my Alt key in Windows or the Option key in a Mac, which resizes both sides at the same time. And I'll do that until I see a height of 0.1 inch. And then I'll release the key. I want to close this dialog box, and I'll just click, hold, and drag that top control handle of the ellipse down, and I'll hold down my Alt key or the Option key on the Mac to resize both sides at the same time to about 0.1 inch. It's a little tricky doing it this way. Sometimes I'll get close and I go over, but I want the size to be close to 0.1 inch. Seem to be having a little trouble there getting exactly what I want, but I'll get there. 0.1 inch. There we go. Okay, so I release the mouse button. And now I'll go to Window and open up the Stroke panel. And I'll click the panel menu in the upper right-hand corner to make sure that all the options are showing. And I'll change the stroke weight to 2. I'll just click the up arrow key there to 2. And then I want to click the Align Stroke to the inside, which aligns the stroke to the inside of the ellipse. Now I want that brown rectangle on top of the object we've just created. So with my selection tool, I'll select that kind of post-like thing, the brown rectangle, and I'll go up to Object, Arrange, and Bring to Front. And we can see that it's now on top of that object. We can also use the Ellipse tool to create a circle. We just use the Ellipse tool and hold down some modifier keys to do that. So I'll get my Ellipse tool. And then I'll click, hold, and drag and start drawing an ellipse. And as I drag, I'm going to press the Shift key to create a circle. I'm going to drag until the width and the height are both about 1 inch. So there's my circle. All I had to do was hold down the Shift key when using the Ellipse tool. Now I want to make it a little bit smaller. So with the ellipse selected, I'm going to position the pointer over the left middle bounding point of the circle. And I'll click and drag toward the center. And as I drag, I'll press down Shift and Alt on Windows and Shift and Option on a Mac. And I want to drag until the measurement label shows a width and height of about 0.3 inches. So I'm just grabbing a hold of one of those control handles in the middle there on the side. I'm holding down Shift and Alt on a PC, Shift and Option on a Mac, and dragging inward until I see a measurement of about 0.3 inches. Now that I've got that, and with it still selected in my swatches panel, I'll fill it with a light gray color.